Happy days. I used to carry on.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the regular meeting of Osoyoos Town Council, May the 2nd, 2011, 2 o'clock in Council Chambers. We're looking for the first item would be the adoption of some previous minutes, Committee of the Whole minutes from April the 18th, regular open minutes from April the 18th, and special open minutes from April the 21st. Are the minutes as they are? Council, hearing nothing, hearing no comment, we will adopt those by consensus. Any business arising from prior minutes? Okay. Any late items for introduction? No late items, no delegations, no correspondence, and we're going right into bylaws. This will be a short meeting today, folks. Going into item G, bylaws, water conservation and stage restriction bylaw for second and third readings. We had this at the previous meeting and had our debate there. So our Corporate Services Director, Ms. Van Vienen, please.
Okay, as you said, Council gave first reading to water conservation and stage restriction bylaw number 1273 at its regular open meeting of April the 4th. Council wanted to give the public an opportunity to on the issue, so it was advertised in 2 issues at various times, which led it to this meeting to come forward for second and third readings. And basically, this bylaw will set stage restrictions for water usage throughout the year, with the inclusion of a normal stage that is instituted throughout the year. So what we're looking for right now is, I believe there are 2 letters that were received by council from the public. If you were going to read those, yes. And then if there were any public that for council, second and
okay. Council has received 2 letters on this item, and before we head into debate, I will read these letters out. The first letter was from Mr. Ken Murray and states, "I would like council to consider the following comments as the said bylaw moves through second and third readings. First, while I agree with the rationale for this bylaw, it is only one part of the solution to conserve our water resources and tends to put the cart before the horse. The administration's earlier proposal for mandatory metering of all properties should be moved forward as rapidly as possible to encourage reductions in consumption, which will presumably reduce the need for declaring stage restrictions. Secondly, I believe the various stages of water restrictions include reasonable compromises, wants versus needs, with the possible exception of the blanket prohibition at all stages for hosing down driveways and sidewalks. The statement is made that sweeping is sufficient. Assuming that the town's power rotary brushes are more efficient than my hand-operated broom, I presume the street cleaners will likewise be prohibited from using water for their seasonal cleanups." Thank you, Mr. Murray, for your letter. And the second letter submission received from Mr. Richard Gill, and it states, "With your ultimate wisdom, Osoyoos being a community in bloom town where tourists embrace it because of its beauty and greenery. Once you change the current watering routines, Osoyoos will dry up, lawns will turn brown. Remember, not all of us live in condos. Flowers will die, and Osoyoos in time will become another Oroville, Washington." Thank you, Mr. Gill, for your input onto that. And now, Ms. Van Vienen.
Okay, so the options here to council are to read Water Conservation and Stage Restriction Bylaw number 1273, 2011, a second and third time, or refer back to staff for further review, or that it be abandoned. And staff are recommending that it be read a second and third.
Thank you. Council? Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you. Also move.
Okay, and Seconder, Councillor Cronmiller. Any discussion on that? Any further discussion, maybe after the letters we just received? Hearing none, all in favor, Opposed? Carried for second and third reading. The next item is the Osoyoos Tax Rate Bylaw number 1283, 2001. Mr. Zackel is not here. Councillor Chadsey will lead this report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is our tax rate bylaw for 2011, and this is for adoption. The bylaw received the first 3 readings at the April 18th regular meeting. And I'm just going to go over it just a bit, just to bring it down quite simple terms. In 2011, the average assessed value of a single-family residence is $372,000. And in 2010, an average single-family resident would have paid $557 for their municipal portion of taxes. In 2011, that average single-family resident will pay $571, which amounts to an increase of approximately $13.69 per average single-family residence. There is a new tax levy that has been added to the 2011 tax rates bylaw for general debt for the town of Osoyoos, and this will average approximately $3.50 for an average single-family residence. There is a new benefit for property owners claiming a homeowner grant if we are located outside of the Capital Regional District or the GVRD, the Fraser Valley Regional District. And this benefit is called the Northern and Rural Area Homeowner Benefit. And that benefit will be up to $200 above the current homeowner grant. So all of us will see a little bit of an increase in our homeowner grant deductible. The property tax rate for the residential has increased from 1.4800 to 1.595363, and the business tax rate is 1.6 times that, so a rate of 2.4581. The town of Osoyoos is responsible for collecting and remitting taxes for other taxing authorities. And when you get your tax notice, you'll notice that it will include the library, the regional district, the hospitals, schools, the British Columbia Assessment Authority, Municipal Finance Authority, and the police. And this tax rates bylaw that we're looking at today must be adopted by May the 15th, as per the community charter. And before I make the motion, I just want to remind everyone that taxes are due on July the 4th by 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon. So if you're here at 4:35 on July the 4th, you are too late. So start now to prepare. The tax notices should be going out shortly. So I'm going to make a motion that the council adopt the 2011 Osoyoos tax rate bylaw number 1283, 2011.
Thank you, Councillor Chadsey. Seconder, Councillor Rhodes. Any discussion on that? Councillor Ryan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I just wanted to support this, but also to just point out that $3.50 tax that we're paying for borrowing is for the 89th Street improvements of sidewalks, gutters, and new paving. So you know, we're getting a lot, I think, for our money, and certainly a lot of us use that. It's certainly one of our arterial roads. So
thank you.
Very important.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. And I guess I always focus in on that commercial sector, and you know, with the provincial government recommending a multiplier of 2.45 in the town of Osoyoos at 1.6, it certainly shows that we're open for business and out for business, and we consider this trying to be an attractive place for businesses to look at and perhaps to move here or do something, because our commercial tax rate is one of the lowest. And it's great to see that homeowner grant bumped up $200. I believe it's from $570 to $770 now. It's a homeowner grant. So thank you to the provincial government. That was, we'll accept that for sure. Any further dialogue on the tax rate bylaw? Looking for approval. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next item of business is the off-street public parking regulation amendment bylaw 127401 for adoption. Ms. Van Vienen, please.
Thank you. Council gave 3 readings to this bylaw at its open meeting of April 18th. This bylaw just removes the 7-day parking limit in the boat trailer parking lot along Main. Although lifting the 7-day limit, we'll still be monitoring it for residential. It is be used by visitors and non-resident property owners. The residents are hoping to be keeping their trailer on their own properties. If we do find one that's been there for a lengthy time, we will be checking to see if it is a resident, trying to find an alternate for them. Ministry of Transportation approval is not required on this bylaw as it does not affect arterial highways. So this bylaw is being filed.
Thank you. Council, please. Councillor Rhodes.
Also move.
And Councillor Cronmiller on the second, please. Discussion. Councillor Ryan?
Well, I think it's really a move forward. We've got a place there, and we want to make sure that it's used, and I think it's going to help us to be able to use our bylaw enforcement in some of the other areas that are necessary. So I'm sure everybody will continue to cooperate with that as they have, and the way they park and what they put in there.
Thank you. Councillor Chadsey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think this has been said fairly often before, but I think it bears repeating. The reason that residents are not permitted or encouraged to park their boat trailers in this lot is because the lot was leased for the purpose of removing these boat trailers off of the streets where they were being parked. All of the funding for the lease is coming from our resort municipality funding. So it's not coming out of our residential taxes, and in actual fact, it really has nothing to do with us as residents. It is a tourist-related matter, and it was the tourists who were parking on the street, and what the residents do is we get the benefit of more parking. So for those of us residents who might have boats, who can't understand why the tourists get everything and we get nothing, is because, in effect, the tourists are paying for it. It is resort municipality hotel tax funding. So,
thanks for that bit of information, Councillor Chadsey. Anything further? Calling the question on adoption of this bylaw. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And the last bylaw, D4, Parks and Community Facilities Bylaw number 1278, 2011, for second and third readings. Ms. Van Vienen, again, please.
Thank you. Council gave first reading to this bylaw at its regular open meeting of March the 21st. Council directed staff to look at including a prohibition of smoking in the parks at that time. A report did come to Council at the April 18th meeting with some suggestions, and Council did direct staff in what they would like to see in this bylaw. So the bylaw has been amended to include the following. In the definitions section, a new definition of smoke or smoking has been added to read: smoke or smoking shall mean a lighting up and use of a cigarette, cigar, pipe, or smoking material of any kind that creates smoke that it is taken orally, and including the carrying of a lighted cigarette, cigar, pipe, or other smoking material or equipment. Paragraph 12B and C have been amended by changing 50 persons to 25 persons, and that was in the gathering groups. And section 18D has been added to state, no person shall smoke on or in any park or trail unless a designated smoking area has been established for the purpose of a special event, with the area being determined by and with the agreement of both the town and the event organizer. Bylaw has been amended to that effect, and it is now being put forward to Council for reading a second and third time as amended. or it could be sent back to staff for further review or be abandoned.
Thank you, Ms. Van Vienen. Councillor Cronmiller, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move the Parks and Community Facilities Bylaw number 1278, 2011 be read a second and third time as amended.
Thank you. And that seconder, Councillor Ryan. Any further discussion on the motion? Speaking to the motion, Councillor Ryan, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The bylaw is a very important and necessary one, and I know that the last time we spoke and in the community there's been some discussion about the smoking prohibition, but it's interesting that even before we made that change, there was also a provision, and which is still there, about not throwing butts and all kinds of other little matches and things and debris on the ground. So again, we're trying to make our community a very healthy one, and our parks, our trails, and our pathways and so on are for people to walk and to enjoy nature. And so I think if people will cooperate in that and make sure that when they're breathing the air, whether they're inside or outside, it's fresh and clean.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any comments on that? Hearing none, heading for second and third reading on the Parks and Community Facilities Bylaw. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. See, we're just going through this agenda here at a breakneck speed. Moving to the next category under Business H1, a report from Director of Recreational and Leisure Services, Mr. Davies, on a recreation funding agreement between the Town of Osoyoos and RDOS, Regional District Okanagan Smilkameen. Mr. Davis, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Staff met with the Regional District to discuss options for the recreation agreement. Since then, the Regional District forwarded a letter asking the town to execute the proposed agreement, which is part of this report. In the previous agreement, funding started at $40,000 and the ceiling was at $48,000. For the last 2 years, we received increased funding of $53,000 and $55,000 respectively. This helps get on target with Area A residents who utilize recreation services. This proposed agreement starts at $57,000 and ends at $69,000 in the year 2015. This agreement is for recreation services only in terms of the Sonora Community Center's programming, the services, and special events. It does exclude the services that are part of the arena management agreement, which has also gone to council recently. In terms of implications and for the community, it does help offset and bring programming options to Area A residents. In terms of the organizational implications, other communities have a two-tiered system where different rates are applied to residents and non-residents, which is something that we prefer not to do. And in terms of budget, it does help offset our overall tax requirement. So the options presented are for council to execute the recreation agreement or for council not to execute the recreation agreement. And staff's recommendation is option number 1, forward with it.
I guess I have a question, Mr. Davis. When we're looking at these, how do we arrive at those numbers? Is this a population base or user services, or how do we arrive at that?
Originally, we were looking at these numbers. Originally, we were looking at assessment of the population and excluding capital costs. In our other agreement, in terms of the arena, we had included capital costs because it is owned by the regional district.
Right.
So this was purely those numbers, and they swayed anywhere from 5 to 10% each year. And what we're trying to do is to come up with a formula based on actual numbers. These numbers are just numbers from the past that we had brought them up to that level, and it's 20 to 25%. I think the original assessment number is 24 point something percent.
Okay. So this will be in line with I guess where it should be, looking at fairness and usage and numbers.
Yeah, when we first discussed it with Director Pendergrass, he felt it would be better to bring it up a little bit each year until it got to that limit. And in 2015, it would be close to that of our numbers right now. So between now and then, we should have some kind of formula in place based on actual numbers for every year's budget.
And hopefully it doesn't get away on us again.
Exactly.
Thank you. Any further discussion from council? Councillor Cronmiller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move option 1.
Okay. And the seconder, Councillor Rhodes. Any further discussion from Councillor Cronmiller?
I'll take advantage of that. For a second, I really appreciate this agreement. I think in the years I've been on council, I've watched it fluctuate, and it's the management of it in some ways was unfortunate in years past. Can't say that in the present time or in the past several years. However, it's really great to see that not just the town of Osoyoos, but the community of Osoyoos works together to be able to play together and make use of our recreation facilities, and everybody contributes to that usage. So I'm really pleased to see this agreement and these funds.
Great. Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I would echo that. And also, the nice thing about this, as with our library assessment and the support that we give to our library system, is that it's then open to every resident, and you don't have a turnstile at the entrance where you have to put in money every time you use it. It just liberates everyone to use it, make the most use of it, and we hope they will. They've got a wonderful program at the Sonora Center, and it's open to everyone, and generally those things are free as well. So make use of these opportunities, because they're being supported by the general public, and we should all be utilizing them to the greatest extent we can.
Thank you. Anything further? All in favor of executing the agreement? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Bringing us to business number H2, letter of support from the South Okanagan Community Literacy Program, and a report from the corporate officer, Van Vienen.
On April 15th, 2011, Mary Kavisti, the volunteer tutor coordinator for the South Okanagan Community Literacy Program, Okanagan College, sent a request to Mayor Wells requesting council support of the South Okanagan Community Literacy Program. This program helps to improve the literacy skills of adults residing in Osoyoos, Oliver, and Okanagan Falls by providing tutors to 2 to 4 hours per week on a one-to-one basis. This letter of support would form a necessary part of their funding application to the province. Council provided letters of support for this program in 2010 and 2008. Mary Kivist and Carolyn Sinclair were a delegation at the May 19th, 2009 regular open meeting, where they provided council with a brief overview of the program. Implications: community provide a much needed service to the community. Organizationally, there is no impact, no budget impact, and the options presented to council are that council resolve to provide a letter of support to South Okanagan Community Literacy Program, or that council not support the South Okanagan Community Literacy Program, and staff recommend option.
Thank you. Councillor Chadsey.
Thank you. I'll make a motion that council resolve to provide a letter of support for the South Okanagan Community Literacy Program.
Thank you. And the seconder, Councillor Rhodes. Any further discussion on that, other than it's just a great program, and we really appreciate it, and the people are doing good work out there. Nothing further. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And that moves us right down to notice of motion. Anybody serving notice of motion for future meetings? Nothing there. Get into the cash requirements, paying some bills in the general account of $277,977.82. In the arena accounts of $4,969.04, and the net payroll accounts of $58,913.28 and these are for the periods from April the 2nd to April the 15th. Looking for a motion to pay these, move this funding. Councillor Ryan, Councillor Cronmiller, discussion? Hearing none, we'll move that as adopted by consensus. Moving us now to the report from CAO. Mr. Romanko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Just some highlights of work that's been done by the administration and all the departments over the last couple of weeks, starting first in the Community Development Department, where Community Development Manager has been working with community groups, looking at organizing various types of activities in the forthcoming years, one being this year with the Cactus Jalopy for a car event along with the Rotary and the Chamber, and looking to next year for putting together a water festival in August. Also busy working with Area A Director Mark Pendergraph on developing options and opportunities for seasonal working camp, and this was discussed with Council this morning on some of the options that are being considered. Community Development Manager completed the 2010 Resort Municipality Initiative Report, meeting our regulatory requirements for continued funding, so we're just waiting back for a response from them if the information is sufficient. And also working on next week, the resort municipality communities are going to be gathering here in Osoyoos to meet and take a look at the program and share information on initiatives that are occurring. Also, the Integrated Community Sustainability Plan, continued work with that with the consultants. In finance, they've worked on developing the application for the water twinning. That's gone in within the grant deadline. Also, just recently finished work with auditors and budget, so a little bit of relief out of the finance department. Planning department, on April 19th, the director and a planning technician attended the second meeting of the Agricultural Plan Committee for Area A and heard results from the questionnaire survey on local agricultural businesses. On Friday, April 28th, the director and Carlo DiStefano, architect, hosted a housing symposium with housing experts to present and discuss the urban design concepts and modern housing plans for the Southeast Meadowlark, including the town's affordable housing strategy. And this particular event, I'm pleased to report that our staff received very good feedback from the funding sources from various levels of government as to how progressive this plan was, and the high quality of work that was completed in that particular process. Public Works has completed fencing for the expanded boat trailer parking, and our new signage for the area should be going up very, very shortly. Looking forward to opening here probably in the next couple of weeks, so getting ready for the busy summer season. Also, just as a matter of updating council, design drawings are currently being completed for the 62nd Avenue to Golf Course Drive Trail Network expansion, and also the trailer Sani dumps. So those we're waiting. We should be hearing those plans should be completed, and we should be going to tender fairly soon. In terms of the CAO, besides having 2 weeks vacation, I've had the opportunity to have numerous discussions with transportation to explore options to deal with the truck turning difficulties on 115th Street going east, and we hope that we have some resolution to that. We'll be following up on the Towns for Tomorrow grant, because that was the main source of funding for expanded trail, although we do have options in place. Also be working on the resort municipality strategic plan so that we can access new funding for new projects. Friday afternoon I met with True Consulting, and I'd just like to quickly give council an update on the Northwest Sewer Project. We just met on Friday afternoon, and this is kind of hot off the press. So just looking at the various phases, phase 1 is described as substantially complete. The lift station is ready for commissioning, although there are some deficiencies in place. They're being worked out with the contractor, and all funds are in place and holdbacks to enable the deficiencies to be completed. As of now, we have 10 homes that are connected to the system and feeding sewer into the system, and it's being pumped out and hauled away. But certainly soon the pumps will be commissioned. Phase 2 is 50% complete with a completion target date of May 31. That True feels is within the scope of completion. Just to update you, as council knows, we were having difficulty with 4 property owners securing right-of-ways. We feel we've dealt with 1, and we're down to 3 property owners. We're looking at going around those properties, and to meet those requirements, an environmental consultant has been hired and a report study completed that shows that we have no Rocky Mountain ridge mussel in that area, so that's a positive. We now have to go to Department of Fisheries and just seek so that we can do construction probably in the November period at low water time. Another also good news is that the environmental person reports that all the vegetation on the banks is all evasive, so we don't have to be as careful as we thought we were originally. Phase 3 is ready to award. 2 right-of-ways are not signed, but they're minor. 2 property owners have requested minor changes to the agreement, which we feel are not onerous. We are able to meet them in place. All the other right-of-ways are in place. Phase 4 is close to tender. No right-of-ways have been secured. We're looking. A large portion of that project doesn't require right-of-ways, so we're looking at. We will be able to start and proceed without right-of-ways in place. We're looking at just dealing with 3 parties that require right-of-ways, and we'll be dealing with them very, very shortly. So that'll give you an update on the Northwest Sewer Project.
Great, thank you very much. You had a lot of good news in that report. I particularly like the 115th trucking situation. That'd be great if we got that resolution. Been ongoing for about 3 years, and the 62nd to the golf course sidewalk. I think that's near and dear to all of council there. We'd like to see that kicked off. So there are some good ones there, and just. It looks like they finally wrapped up the new passing lane highway out at Willow Beach north of Osoyoos. It looks like it's pretty well done. And my comment on that is after a lot of hard work and arm twisting, they did did a property exchange with Ducks Unlimited. They have that path there down below ready to go. Well, we're just, when we were looking at, you mentioned projects for the resort municipality funding. If we could get our path going out there and we have that piece that's already in place, all we have to do is flip over to the river, and now we'd be able to access 4 miles north of Oliver right out to the Jackson Trigg Vincor Winery. And that would just be spectacular. So maybe we could start looking at that as a completion project and get in that whole hiking biking trail. What a great opportunity. Thanks a lot, Mr. Maranko. Councillor reports, and first off the chute would be Councillor Crownmiller, who always thinks he's last.
Well, you just stole some of my thunder already, Mr. Mayor, so I don't know.
I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. I just wanted to thank our CAO for mentioning the 62 to Golf Course Drive sidewalk, and the mayor as well. Steal some of my thunder. That's the one I was talking about, because I don't know how many people have asked me about it in the last few weeks, and I was always pleased to answer that it's coming, and I can guarantee it'll be here this year. So this is just good news that shortly they'll see some action on that. It's also, since I was first today, I get to mention the work of our fire department, and I'm really honored and pleased to be associated with a fire department that works like that ours does. when I watched them yesterday at the fire on Main Street, the work they do is incredible. And these gentlemen all are volunteers in our community, putting in numerous hours to practice, prepare for events like this, and to help the people in our community when the need arises. And their work was exceptional yesterday, and they put in a long day from about 8:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock, until 7 o'clock last night. So it's a lot of work that they put in, and kudos to them for a job well done. And I was at the affordable housing and housing seminar last week, and certainly enjoyed and appreciated working with the community on that one, as the CAO mentioned. And lastly, I mentioned that I'm going this week as the mayor and the councilors to SILGA, Southern Interior Local Government Association convention in Merritt. And while we're there, we're going to celebrate some of Merritt's centennial year as they celebrate their 100 years as a community. And so we're going to join with them in some of those celebrations and work together and talk about resolutions that we're going to pass on as an association to the UBCM convention in the fall. So we have work to do. Will be some busy sessions on Thursday and Friday, and certainly some educational ones on Wednesday. So, and some good networking along the way as well. So I look forward to the rest of this week. That's my report.
Thanks, Councillor Cronmiller. Next Councillor Chadsey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Also on the 62nd Avenue to Golf Course Drive, this is really an example of a project that all of council bought into the very first year we were elected. It's also an example of how you always have good ideas, but you never have the money to put them in place. And so for the last 2.5 years, that's what we've worked for, to find places where we can submit grant applications for this type of project. And we're really hopeful that we will get the grant money to put in this much-needed pedestrian walkway. But rest assured, if we don't get the grant money, we'll still find the dollars somewhere. But you will have a safe and secure walkway from Golf Course Drive to the highway. I wasn't here last week, so I just want to do a belated congratulations to all the volunteers. It was a great success, the luncheon that we had, and I really, really want to express my appreciation to the staff at Sonora Center for making it such a wonderful event. Everybody had a good time. Everybody felt welcome. They all expressed the food was delicious, and they really felt like they were being honored and respected, and that's what we try to do. And every year we just try a little bit harder, and it gets more and more to be a special event. Seroptimus, I went to the fashion show on Saturday morning. And a lot of us ladies remember when the Seroptimus used to have these fashion shows in the evening. It was a great fundraiser for them, but it just got too much work. And so they had to stop. But this one at breakfast was great, and I hope that they were successful in raising funds for all their important projects. And I really hope that they keep doing it. Public hearing next Monday, May the 9th. I think it's for regional growth strategy. Is that correct? No? I think so. Yeah. So just mark that on your calendars. Today is elections day, so please remember to vote. And I just have one other thing. A lot of people have been asking me how my husband is. And he had not been doing that well, but I phoned at noon, and they say he's an entirely different person. So his recovery will be lengthy, but we have no reason to think it won't be a full one. So just on behalf of Brian and I just want to thank everyone for all your words and support and your prayers. And that's my report.
Thank you, Councillor Chadsey, and that's just such great news about Brian. That's wonderful. Thanks. Councillor Rhodes, please.
No report today.
Okay, that's a little bit different for Councillor Rhodes. Councillor Ryan, does that mean you get twice the time?
Well, I would certainly accept it if Councilor Rhodes is willing to give it up, but I think he likes to bank it.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I've spent a lot of time in this council for the last 2 weeks, so number of meetings, and but some other meetings as well that were quite interesting. I serve on a committee of the regional library, so we had a meeting there, but happily I was able to do it by telephone, and also had a meeting with a resident over some concerns that the resident had. Participated, of course, in the Easter parade, and that was wonderful. We had a wonderful parade and lots of nicely decorated trikes and bikes. Went to the housing symposium that we had, and we're getting ready for the eventual build out of housing in the Richter property and that whole southeast Meadowlark area neighborhood. And that's coming along. We were quite impressed by the designs that the architects have developed for the housing units in that area. Attended a drinking water workshop with Interior Health last Friday, and also went to an invasive plant workshop at the Sonora Center. And they're doing a lot of good things, as I said earlier when we talked about the support that they get from the regional area. And I'm going to tell you in a minute a couple more things that they're doing. And then, of course, I'll be going with council to the Southern Interior Local Government Association Conference. One of the treats this week was going to the South Okanagan Amateur Players production of The Odd Couple, the female version. And you've missed it in Osoyoos, but it's certainly worth the 20-kilometer drive to Oliver to see it. And it's going to be there this Friday and Saturday at 8 o'clock. And I would certainly encourage you to go. And I want to congratulate two Osoyoos residents who have leading roles in that. And Leslie Hatherley is one. She plays Florence, and Paul Everest, our own Paul Everest from across the street, member of the Fifth Estate, is a very credible Spanish young person living in New York. So you must see it. This is Drinking Water Week in British Columbia, and you'll notice that all the members of council have something on their desk with water and drinking water, and this is fresh from our reservoirs, fresh from our town water. I'm going to just ask us all to raise our glasses together and just have a little toast to municipal water.
From the tap.
Straight from the tap. And I'm going to ask you to think about some other things you can do this week during Drinking Water Week. First of all, make drinking water your beverage of choice. It's healthy and better for you than other things. Than pop, for example, that I see on the tables across from me. And also, try not to buy any bottled water this week. Try instead to use a reusable bottle or a stainless steel bottle and take it with you when you're out and about. But try not to buy. See how you can do on that. The other thing in terms of water, not just drinking it, but making sure that we don't pollute our water and don't put things into it that we shouldn't. So one of the favorites, of course, is people throwing all kinds of things down their toilet, medicines and all kinds of things. So don't do that. The drugstores will take them and dispose of them. In our water bylaw that we're passing, a conservation bylaw, we talk about washing your car at the car wash, or if you do it at home, using a pail and a hose with a little trigger nozzle so that you don't waste water. And of course, sweeping your sidewalk and driveway. And I've watched our staff with the machine cleaning, and they don't use water. It's a dry vacuum system. So sometimes they do in communities. They do have a little water, but it's only to keep the dust down. I think that not to really to flush away the things that are on the street. And try to be water wise this week and every day. And there are two events that I want to just mention about that are in this whole area of sustainability. One is Talking Trash, and I think that may be the one that Councillor Gadsby was referring to. It's this Thursday at the Sonora Center from 6 to 8, and it's going to be all about what is being done in terms of the collection of waste and disposal of waste. So it would be good to get a little more information about that. And then, of course, we're having our composting workshop on the 18th of May, on Wednesday, the 18th, from 6 to 7. And not only will you learn about composting, but you'll have a chance, if you don't have one already, to get a composter. And I think there's going to be a special prize for anybody that attends of some of those nice paper bags for your yard waste. But that's mine, and I hope I didn't encroach on any of this bank time that Councillor Rhodes was trying to save.
Yep, it's all good.
Thanks, Councillor Ryan. Gee, you know, going last year, I can just start putting lines through some of the items I had. It's been very busy. This is going to be even a busier week. The housing symposium that we had at Sonora that both the CAO and Councillor Ryan talked about, really good. Had folks there from BC Housing and CMHC and looking at a whole myriad of ways of looking at this affordable housing question on the property that we have up there. Had a meeting with Interior Health, all the different water systems that we have in the area. Dr. Paul Hasselback was there. Meeting with Dr. Paul Hasselback is always interesting. It certainly has its challenges about it. He's a very, very strong individual and not afraid to speak his point and his mind and where we're going with this. And basically, he was looking at the town being aggressive in joining or helping or associating with all these small singular systems that are around. It's certainly something that we really weren't interested in doing, but there's an opportunity for dialogue there. And you know, there's just a lot of reasons why these small water groups, they can't get any funding, they can't get any grants or things like that. So they were all there at the meeting, and we were up at the Interior Health Building down on 89th, and interesting meeting to say the least. So we'll just see where that leads the town and what that leads to in the future. On Sunday, I did the MS walk in Penticton. I believe that's my 4th or 5th year for doing that. That's always just such a positive day. You know, anything we can do to defeat that debilitating disease is positive. So there was a lot of people from Osoyoos, Oliver, Summerland, Princeton, and I'd just like to say that Cor Vermeulen and wife Gloria, Cor was the main manager at BYLAWS here in town, and he demoted himself into a less pressure job where he's I think he's a stock guy up there now. But him and Gloria, last I heard, had raised $8,800 for MS. So that was congratulations to those two people and the group of people that they took with them from Osoyoos and from the BYLAWS store here in town. So I did that one in the morning, and then at 1 o'clock there was the hospice walk in Oliver. So and that's fundraising to establish a hospice in Oliver, and it's an Oliver and Osoyoos organization. That was really good. I believe the Oliver Rotary Club donated $5,000 from one of their fundraisers there. I think that was the 5th year that they've been doing that also. I know I've been there for about 3 of them, and to me, one of the pluses of it is you're on that paved walkway on the river, the hike-bike trail walkway, just north of Oliver, down by that park. But it's also where they did an oxbow restoration. So every time you go there, they've taken the channelized river that was built in about 1958 and has no environmental aspects to it whatsoever, no fish rearing aspect. They've actually taken it and opened up 2 of the old oxbows and have the river flowing through that along with the channelized portion. And it's really an environmental feat. So that was a good part of the day. And of course, while I'm there, I get a phone call from Councillor Rhodes, and here we're losing big pieces of our Main Street real estate out there. And again, congratulations to the firemen for stopping that. That could have taken out the whole block. Those buildings go back to the 1930s. I'm sure they've got shavings in them for insulation. That could have been a way, way bigger disaster than it is. It's bad enough as it is right now, but thanks to the firemen and you know, that job has a lot of risk. And we look at it and we see the firemen, and we never really associate the risk that job entails. And it has a high risk factor and a high health factor to it. So those guys that are doing that really, really deserve a lot of credit. Composting. There's a historical walking tour in town on May the 28th. I realize that's a little bit away, but it certainly would be interesting to take part of that and see what was where in the old town. Heading to this SILGA conference, it's interesting when we look at local government, and this is our parent body. And the last time we went to SILGA, we were quite all pumped up, and we took the goose control issue, and we got it through SILGA and everything, and that gave it a gold seal approval as we were headed for our fall conference, which is the Union of BC Municipalities, where everybody in the province goes to. And we put that through, and interesting enough, the Union of BC Municipalities let that just go dead and fall flat on the table. We were all very, very upset with it. And Councillor Cronmiller took that and kept working it through SILGA. And I was sort of fed up with the whole process. But, in fact, I was never going to go to another SILGA meeting. But here I am going again, because they realized what they had done, and they put it back together again. And we're going to get this goose control where not only our community and Oliver and Penticton, the Okanagan communities, but some Vancouver Island communities and other people affected by it, we're going to get this back at the UBCM, and we're going to get the tools we want to have effective goose control for our lake and our foreshore and our beaches and our parks. So it will be interesting at SILGA. Sometimes you just have to take 2 runs of things. Anyway, that is my... one little update on the public hearing, which is Monday the 9th. The public hearing is on the climate action planning, and it's the corporate action plan and the community action plan. So if you're interested at all in the environment and climate action and where we're going, please come out to the hearing. And that's the end of my report, and looking for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Chadsey, Councillor Ryan, all in favor, opposed. We are adjourned. Good afternoon, folks.